Did Carlos Alcaraz just send a direct message to Novak Djokovic? The Monte Carlo Masters 1000 hasn't even started yet, but it's already generating explosive headlines. The young Spaniard, who returns to the tournament after a 2-year absence, has made it clear that he's determined to regain his best form. And fears no one. With a tough draw and a potential final against the world number 1, Alcaraz's statements and attitude have set off alarm bells on the circuit. So, what was the message that stirred up Monte Carlo? Today we tell you everything. The Monte Carlo Masters 1000 draw has revealed a challenging path for Carlos Alcaraz, but also a strategic advantage. He won't face Novak Djokovic until a potential final. This separation in the draw has sparked countless interpretations, especially because of the implicit message many see in the Spaniard's attitude: see you in the final. A confident gesture that contrasts with the irregular form he has shown in 2025, where he has only managed to claim one title, the ATP 500 in Rotterdam. The last time Alcaraz played in Monte Carlo was in 2022, and the memory is far from encouraging. He lost in his debut. He missed the next 2 editions due to injury, making this return more than just another tournament. It's a chance for redemption in a season where expectations were sky high, but results have fallen short. However, his attitude has changed. In recent interviews he's shown a determined demeanor, talking about challenges, not obstacles, and affirming that he feels ready to face anyone, even Djokovic. Alcaraz's path to that dreamed final is far from easy. In his debut, he'll face the winner of the match between Italian Fabio Fognini and Argentine Francisco Cerundolo, 2 players with clay court experience. If he clears that first hurdle, his next opponent could be Felix Auger-Aliassime, a talented player hungry for victory. And in the quarterfinals, he would theoretically face Andrei Rublev, one of the most dangerous hitters on tour and the current world number 5. But without a doubt, the most anticipated match before the final would be in the semifinals, where fate could bring him face-to-face with Jack Draper, his conqueror in Indian Wells. The Brit was the one who eliminated him in the semifinals and exposed some doubts in Alcaraz's mental game. Now, with the chance for revenge on his favorite surface, Alcaraz knows Monte Carlo is the ideal stage to silence critics and send a loud and clear message: he's back to dominate the clay. And while many see the lack of early round clashes with Djokovic as a stroke of luck, others interpret it as strategic motivation. Alcaraz hasn't avoided the subject. On the contrary, with a defiant smile he stated, "It's a long tournament, with great rivals. But if I want to be the best, I have to beat the best, and hopefully that's in the final." With these words, social media and the press exploded. Are we witnessing the beginning of a new historic rivalry? On the other side of the draw, Novak Djokovic, Alexander Zverev, and Stefanos Tsitsipas are also fighting to reach that hypothetical final. Djokovic, looking to reaffirm his dominance after a shaky start to the season, already has Alcaraz on his radar. Monte Carlo could be the stage where both titans face off once again, elevating the tension and excitement of the tournament to epic levels. For now, the Spaniard has already issued the challenge. Carlos Alcaraz has returned to Monte Carlo with a clear goal: to regain his confidence, win on clay, and face, if fate allows, the world number 1 in the final. His attitude, his words, and the tournament draw show us a player who isn't hiding and who understands that great challenges require bold declarations. Far from being intimidated by Djokovic or the other favorites, Alcaraz seems to enjoy the pressure. In a tournament where anything can happen, he has already achieved the hardest part: getting everyone to talk about him before hitting his first shot. Can Novak Djokovic bounce back after the painful loss in Miami and reign again in Monte Carlo? The Serbian tennis legend heads into the first big clay court tournament with more questions than answers. But also with unwavering motivation to claim his 100th career title. And even though the odds place him as the second favorite behind Carlos Alcaraz, his experience and hunger for glory make him a formidable rival. Today we tell you how Djokovic plans to bounce back in Monte Carlo, why he's still one of the top favorites, and what challenges lie ahead. Novak Djokovic is coming off a painful final defeat at the Miami Masters 1000 against young Czech Jakub Mensik. A match in which, despite his veteran status, he made some uncharacteristic errors, also affected by an unexpected sty in his eye that bothered him during the match. Still, the Czech's level was outstanding, and Djokovic acknowledged his merit. That loss prevented the Serbian from achieving a historic milestone, his long-awaited 100th title, a goal that continues to drive him in every tournament. Monte Carlo now appears as the next big challenge. A tournament that hasn't particularly favored him in the past, although he has lifted the trophy twice. Unlike other surfaces, clay is not his natural habitat, but that doesn't make him a lesser contender. Quite the opposite. Djokovic is ranked world number 5, but his career always places him among the top favorites, regardless of context or surface. His ability to adapt and overcome has made him a living legend. The bookmakers know it. Despite the loss in Miami and the emotional blow it caused, Djokovic remains the second major favorite in Monte Carlo. The first, of course, is Carlos Alcaraz, who thrives on clay, though his inconsistent 2025 season raises some doubts. The Spaniard has only managed to win one title this year, so his favoritism is based more on potential than recent results. But Djokovic doesn't just want to compete, he wants to win. He knows Monte Carlo means more than just another trophy on his resume. It's the perfect opportunity to send a message to the circuit, that he still has gas in the tank, that he can adapt to any situation, and that he remains one of the greats. The Serb has spoken confidently about his feelings on clay, assuring that he feels physically and mentally ready for this part of the year. His focus is on consistency, minimizing unforced errors, and better controlling decisive moments. Another factor driving him is the possibility of reaching 100 titles, a milestone achieved by only two other players in history, Jimmy Connors and Roger Federer. That round number has become a sort of positive obsession for Djokovic, who's willing to give it his all on the court to reach it as soon as possible. Monte Carlo, even if not his most successful tournament, represents the best chance at this point in the season, before facing the challenges of Madrid, Rome, and Roland Garros. And while all eyes are on Alcaraz and Djokovic, Stefanos Tsitsipas, the current Monte Carlo champion, seems to have been pushed into the background. Despite winning in Dubai this year, few see him as a strong contender to repeat the title at this Masters 1000. The Greek's confidence seems to waver in the shadow of the two big favorites. That opens the door for Djokovic to strengthen his path to glory and perhaps shake off the sting of Miami. Novak Djokovic is determined to leave behind the disappointment of Miami and focus on the big goal, his 100th title. Monte Carlo, although not historically his best tournament, offers the chance to kick off the clay season strong. His experience, champion's mindset, and obsession with perfection make him one of the most dangerous opponents in the draw. While everyone's watching Alcaraz, Djokovic sharpens his weapons in silence, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. In Monte Carlo, he could write a new chapter in his legendary career, and no one dares to count him out. Big advantage for Carlos Alcaraz in Monte Carlo. The draw in Monte Carlo is favorable for Alcaraz, who has a golden opportunity to fight for another clay court title. The Masters 1000 Monte Carlo draw is now official, and luck has smiled on Carlos Alcaraz, who won't have a particularly tough path in his quest for this title. The Spanish player begins the clay season, his star surface, with an important initial boost, thanks to a favorable draw. The world number 3 can no longer overtake Sinner before the Italian returns to the courts, due to his failures in Indian Wells and Miami, but he will have a chance to gain key points in the battle for the world number 1 spot, and Monte Carlo could be the perfect place to do so. 1,000 points are at stake, and his opponents, until the final, are manageable for Alcaraz to contend for the title. Luck smiles on Carlos Alcaraz in the Monte Carlo draw. Carlitos will start his journey in the first clay tournament of the season in the second round, and won't face major challenges until the later stages. In tennis, any rival can cause trouble, especially considering the Spaniard's inconsistency this season, but it's true that he won't meet the toughest opponents in the draw until the semifinals. In his opening match, he'll face either Francisco Cerundolo or Fabio Fognini, with the Argentine likely to be the tougher challenge. If he wins, something he failed to do in Miami, Alcaraz will face Felix Auger-Aliassime or Matteo Arnaldi, opponents he's clearly favored against. Then, if the world number 3 keeps winning, the key rounds begin, and the path gets progressively harder. In the quarters, he'll likely face Rublev, Fils, or Monfils. And in the semifinals, the real test comes. In the battle for a place in the final, Carlitos could face Jack Draper, his Indian Wells nemesis, Ben Shelton, one of this season's breakout stars, or Casper Ruud, world number 6. If the Spaniard reaches the final, he'll battle for the title against players like Djokovic, Medvedev, Rune, or Tsitsipas, the reigning Monte Carlo champion. That is, against whoever survives a much tougher section of the draw, filled with marquee matchups. With this draw, Alcaraz avoids major early round showdowns and has a golden opportunity to add another title this season and silence any doubts. Plus, playing on clay gives him a significant advantage. Unexpected words from Sinner after his doping ban. Can a tennis player remain world number 1 without touching a racket for months? Jannik Sinner is proving it. Despite his 3-month suspension, the Italian has not lost his spot atop the rankings and already has his return date set, the Rome Masters 1000. In an exclusive interview, Sinner revealed how he has experienced this forced break, and the most surprising part is his confession. "I don't even think about tennis that much." What's been going through the mind of the best player on the planet while off the courts? Let's find out. Jannik Sinner appears smiling, relaxed, and full of energy in his interview with Sky Sports. The Italian has broken his silence and delivered a clear message: he's rested and feels ready. His official return is set for May, just in time for the Rome Masters 1000, one of the most special tournaments on the calendar, held in his home country with the support of his fans. The perfect stage for his return to the circuit after 3 months of inactivity. During this time off, many expected Sinner to be anxious, counting the days until he could compete again. But his comments reveal a very different reality. Jannik himself admitted that, although he would have liked to keep playing, he hasn't spent his time obsessing over tennis. He's taken advantage of the ban to disconnect, do different things, and take care of both his body and his mind. "I don't even think about tennis that much," he said honestly. A phrase that surprises, especially coming from the current world number one. But it makes sense. At 23 years old, Sinner has learned the importance of balance and knows that staying mentally strong is just as important as having a killer forehand. This forced pause has allowed him to look beyond the sport and reconnect with himself. The break also brought physical benefits. After a packed schedule of tournaments and travel, Jannik used this time to fully recover. In his own words, he feels closer every day to being in peak physical and mental condition, though he acknowledges there's still work to do. This realistic attitude is another sign of his maturity as an athlete. Rome is his main goal, and not just because it's his official return. It'll be a chance to reconnect with fans, feel the adrenaline of competition again, and show that he hasn't lost a bit of his edge. Even though he hasn't played in 3 months, no one has managed to take the number 1 spot from him, showing just how high he had set the bar before the suspension. Sinner's return is not only crucial for him, but also for the ATP Tour. With his elegant style, power, and calm demeanor, the Italian has become a key figure in modern tennis. His comeback promises strong emotions, and all eyes will be on him when he steps back on the Roman clay. Jannik Sinner's confession may seem puzzling, not thinking about tennis much while being world number 1. But in truth, it reflects a new way of approaching high-performance sports, where mental well-being is just as important as titles. This break has been more than a pause, it's been a reset. And if everything goes according to plan, Rome could mark not only his return, but the beginning of an even more dominant phase in his career.